cloud computing. To succeed, we need to foster creativity and allow our teams to experiment. No doubt give us the base for our foundation. But the times have changed massively. This is where collaboration and growth mindset comes in our play.
That's how it is this company by focusing on present, not on past attitude.
Steve definition of possibility, but it gave us operational foundation. But times are changing, as I said earlier. If we want to lead the future, we need to lead in innovation now. The youth today is focusing more on innovation rather than discipline. They need to have flexibility in their working hours. It's not about choosing short term and long term. We need to choose both aspects. It's about creating an environment where the team feels empowered to drive both aspects.
So under your leadership, Steve, I should be focusing more on metrics, process, right? And under you, Satya, I should be balanced with more freedom.
That's right, for the simple numbers. Metrics are what keeps the company on track. If people don't know what's expected from them every quarter, they will focus. You innovate within the boundaries, what's already been working, not taking unnecessary risks.
Why metrics matter? But we need to focus on other innovation facts as well. You know that some of the greatest innovations have come where the people are constrained by rigid process. The greatest innovations like you can assume fire, one of the earliest mentioned, they didn't have any rigidity, they didn't have any artificial principles. Most of the greatest innovations have come from those places where you weren't constrained by any rigid principles. I encourage you to trust your team's creativity. Your teams have their own opinion, you should value them, you should improve them, you should focus on them, rather than giving them some false target, false hopes. Our future is dependent on trends like AI and cloud computing, but it requires a lot of flexible and future approach. If we are too focused on immediate numbers, we might miss bigger opportunities. As you can see, the company has, I'm not telling myself, in records, the company has skyrocketed. The share of Microsoft has improved a lot in the past period. It is not because of short-term growth. It is because we have a long-term vision. We focus on how can we improve our company's innovation through empowering the employees.
Steve, you have Microsoft in growing into a powerhouse by making sure we are operationally sound. But Satya, you have, under your guidance, the company's shares have skyrocketed. How is it? How do you ensure accountability as well as operational efficiency?
That's a great question. We need accountability by setting up clear vision and aligning our teammates. If you give one people a single target and give them a specific accountability and you can't go ahead to go out of the bubble, he is obliged to do so. If he will have vision, he won't be able to continue. So I believe the goals are still there, but instead of dictating every step, we allow teammates to improve their creativity, to show their creativity, to show their innovation. I believe in focusing and fostering innovations. Our empowered employees often outperform the others because first of all, they are high moral, they are highly motivated, and because they are motivated towards targets, they have a shared purpose. They align their purpose with their performance. The recent employees Microsoft have, they are all aligned with the purpose of Microsoft. They have their individual goals, but they prioritize organization over their individual goals. I have seen you give up your freedom, give up your personal time to go for company growth. I believe you can move forward.
Well, Satya, I find but you can't run a company just on a vision and inspiration. You've got to get it naturally. Makes the quarter costs and keep people in mind. Microsoft has built on that operational discipline. You can't forget it.
thinking. It wasn't a strategic move. It was a cultural move. We had to change how we think and work. Because people change their thoughts. Because people aligned organizational purpose. Accepted their personal purposes are beyond organizational purpose. They thought of company as their family. That's what has allowed us to grow significantly over what we had thought earlier.
I see. You focus on managing performance through structure. While Satya, you focus on empowering teams to take a lead. I think this project will both of a bit of both. Clear goals with room to explore your possibilities. That sounds like a perfect balance. The future of Microsoft will be shaped by both operational excellence and ability to innovate and adapt.
Well, about the certain, the results have been impressive. Just don't forget behavior from thinking.
Never skip. I know you have the ability to build the day for the company. We are building on the foundation new leaders. We will try to go to a stronger foundation.
So further, I'd like to know the opinions of the audience regarding to what type of leadership style should Lena have chosen, or is whatever she chosen is right or wrong, and why is it like your opinion? If your opinion differs, then why does it differ? So anyone who would like to give their insights on this? Whether she should choose transactional or transformational?
I think she should choose transaction because basically in transactional it will give her rewards and benefits, basically which will be motivating factor for her.
But look, everyone don't want rewards. Some need motivation only. How can you deal with those people?
You can see Jen as a manager, you have your opinion. But can you tell us why the reward will act as a better factor than motivation? Being a manager and a project on cloud computing, how can transaction help us? Can you just find a bit of it?
I think considering the industry is basically based on technology and software, and in the rapid developing technological environment, transformation is the way to go because in this industry it's an established company. They already have a huge, wide customer base. So what they should be focusing on more is keeping those customers hooked with new technologies and development instead of focusing more on gathering more customers.
Yes, I agree. What is your opinion? How do you define this? How do you show the value of transaction?
I agree with you. She's right.
You agree with my point. So you leave that
I agree with you. Your styles are similar.
transformation can be more of benefit, but as the transaction will also have its own benefit. Sometimes the employees, especially if you consider the factory employees and
And that is why I specifically mentioned specific to this industry transformation will be better. Because in an industry where unskilled workers are more employed, that would require a transaction kind of.
we have to see different people's opinion because some people grow more on transformation and some are focused more on results. Some believe discipline is the only way. So we have to focus on that. So in the long term, but we will assume if someone else has some opinion,
Everybody has one.
so I will just say that mix of both is required. We need to, being a leader, we need to identify who is who. We need to identify employees. We need to identify a family. We need to identify what can motivate the other. Transformation has a growth Microsoft a lot, but without the transaction, without the base transaction has built, we wouldn't have been able to grow. So we need to understand our employee and both according to it. We need to understand will discipline work better, or will motivation work better.
Any other? It's an interesting thing. Everybody wants to say something.
Is it that like in this case or this transitional is to come first to establish the processes and then the
You can
transformation?
tell us if we have missed something.
बात समझ में आ रही सबको?
Yes.
Shall we? What do someone have any question about this case?
We can have out, let's see what's the conclusion.
So, this rule presents a clear difference between the farmer's transactional style focused on maintaining the operational control and meeting the short-term goals, and Nadella's transformational style, which emphasized on a long-term innovation and a cultural change. So, both the leaders' perspective are shown to be valuable in their own context. So, providing Jenna and Mark with a deep understanding on how to approach their project on the cloud computing. So, well, at the end, Jenna has had her decision that she'll implement both the strategies together in order to gain the better results and efficiency of her team. So,
Let's have our discussion.
if there has
So concluding with the role play, now we have also done a survey on transactional versus transformational leadership. We did a survey of 30 people, 30 from UPS and 30 random people who from leadership sector. They were from shopkeepers, factory leaders, as well as shop managers position. And we have also divided it according to the age. UPS students we
Let's just
surveyed.
hear it now first.
UPS students that we surveyed were mostly beyond the age of 26, and the leaders we choose, random leaders we choose, were above the age of 40, mostly 50 plus, but there was 40 to 45. So we have concluded from this, you can check the data. Among the UPS students who picked
Can't
up,
see it there.
Just explain what are the colors indicating.
And yes,
ma'am, firstly we have the data of UPS students.
this is UBS.
Yes, ma'am. This is UPS student data, where there is people who prefer transactional and the people who prefer transformational. Here is the data of managerial position, people randomly choose beyond 40. Here is the people who choose transactional, and here is the people who choose transformational. We asked the people, we also told them if they had some misunderstanding, we clarified them what was transactional so that there wouldn't be any bias. So among the UPS students, we basically took the perspective of leaders or future leaders, which would be upcoming leaders of our society. So we can conclude about the 30 students, there were 6 students who chose transaction and 24 who chose transformation. So we can clearly see that the future leaders and the leaders here currently becoming are focused more on long-term innovation. They are focusing more on the long-term growth, fostering the innovation rather than having some rigid disciplines, rigid rules. They focus more, they can improve their growth more by getting more chances, more by showing the creativity. We can also see the data of people, mostly the managerial people of 40, who choose transactional over transformational.
What is that profile of these people? 40
Ma'am, they were basically starting from local shopkeepers to managerial leaders, corporate factory leaders,
factory leaders.
factory managers, and their leaders.
Some service industry also.
Service industry, yes. Mostly service industry. Few of them were from top managerial position. Top managerial position among them mostly choose the transformational, whereas the shopkeepers, shop leaders, and the service sector managers, the factory managers, they choose transactional over transformational. We can also see a change in the point of view of people growing from past to future. And we have also seen from our study, we have seen on the play how this chief evolved. The former CEO focused more on transactional, whereas the current CEO, Satya Nadella, focused more on transformational. The times have changed. The people focus more on the discipline, rigidness, are now more on flexible position. They know that their creativity can be further improved if we motivate our employee, if we foster their growth, we value their opinion. The people beyond 40 age, mostly they choose, those who choose transactional. The reason was that they were mostly the unskilled laborers manager. So So they believe that if we even give them opportunity, they won't be able to utilize. Their opinion was, we might differ from their opinion, but we only put a survey. So I believe that with increasing with changing time, the focus is more on transformational rather than transactional.
I think you have to be very specific of the industry. Sometimes, at certain level, transaction is very, very important.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you're all on. And just once we set like it's the case, very clearly they have set the base by transaction. Right? But anyways, we can discuss this.
The top managers, the position for like leaders of faculty, they are top managers on top position. They choose
Yeah, I understood. Because they are more, they have to innovate, they have to come up with new things.
Yes, exactly.
They are facing the competition. Whereas there are certain class of people who have to make sure that the operation keeps on going in a right way.
Which is the reason most of the skilled people
They'll have a transaction.
But ma'am, still, if we choose a future leader who is not into an industry, who just want to grow, he will personally, if
Because he's not seeing the reality of
he is not seeing. He will choose transformation.
which is right. In his or her way, it's right.
We have also some insight to show after this interview.
We have some videos of our seniors and our classmates, which we recorded.
Same about transactional versus transformation. So really good. Yeah.
क्या कसम से ये
Sorry for the audio. You don't have good speaker there.
आवाज़ आ रही है कम आ रही है
The audio and
You can play the audio on the mobile.
You play both the videos simultaneously.
आवाज़ यहाँ से आ रही है पकड़ एक मिनट ये मुझे लेती है
so basically this video was about the surveying the various students and other students.
450 GB
I'll share in the group. I'll share the video in the group.
I will just share the group.
450 GB स्पेस है मेरे को अभी ना
We have shared with the group as well.
बजाओ बजाओ ये हमारे ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल रीडर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल लीडर आयुष शर्मा प्लीज कंटिन्यू ब्रो हमारा कोई सर्वे नहीं किया तुमने
अरे he'll take our opinions now, na?
Action, please, please don't bias us.
ओ
We wanted to
Very thoughtful. Nice.
आप लोग ना एक आध का ओपिनियन बता दो because it's very difficult to hear everything.
And basically, we will start with the first one opinion. Give opinion of around 3 minutes. Get the video. And basically, approach our transformational is the way to go. He basically told us that being 1 year in UPS, he was a senior. He told us even he had some choices between transactional versus transformational. He had been a member of clubs where having choices, where they have to make choices whether to choose which type of leadership. He told us that among you students, we will always prefer transformational because the innovation, the growth the young generation can have is more than anyone else. But he also gave us opinion that in case they have to clean the garden or they have to set up a function, they will use the transactional power, transactional quality, where they will have some discipline, they will have some reward and punishment and recompense. We also have
Transformational and transactional. Actually, it's a mix of everything.
exactly, it's really complicated.
Can't follow one style, we have to follow a mix of leadership styles.
Yes, ma'am. So, can you conclude? So, ma'am, basically, ma'am, sorry, ma'am. The relation company and other
Font dark कर दो ना वो।
प्रोजेक्टर लाइट
Projector light।
उल्टा कर दो कंप्यूटर जी कलर्स को फ्लिप कर दिया
सब बैकग्राउंड वाले
Template will be black and gold color.
Theme change कर दो।
Very briefly conclude. And basically our main objective was to study leadership, but our main objective was to study between transactional and transformational. We started from transactional versus transformational. But from where it is never about transformer versus transactional. It is always about transactional and transformational. We need transactional to build a base. Both of them are crucial to build a company. We need to understand where we need to manage it. We need to understand where we need to put more emphasis on discipline and where we need to put more emphasis on the other factors, motivations, other type of factors, innovation. Because there are many fields where innovation is not required. But the field specific to innovation, we need to focus more on transformation at that time. We also have the major goal of transformation was to go for long-term growth. It innovated the cost innovations. It has to foster the innovation. It has to motivate the employee. But the major objective of transformation is to go for long-term growth. Whereas the transactional focuses more on efficiency, reward system, and is focused more on short-term period. To run a company, we need to have mix of both. Because the company is never focused only on one phase. The company is focused on always two phases, short-term as well as long-term. We need to understand where we need to do transactional and where we need to do transformational. So a hybrid approach. We have also said transactional approach. A hybrid approach has been named transactional approach, where the use mix of both is now currently being used in the mostly industries. You can also see from the Satya Nadella and the H.T. Palmer that both of they focus both on the leadership. We started not out from all the leadership, but the major objective of having true leadership and a detailed study of true leadership. The major objective was to study how transformational and transactional, both as a combination, can help the company grow its rate. So we concluded by saying that we need transformational leadership inspires change, while transactional leadership ensures stability. Together they both drive immediate success and long-term investments, long-term success.
We have questions.
but the main debate was on transmission transaction. If you look at a single example, you focus on that. I do understand that you focus on others, but you did not at all touch on a combination or a synergy of the two.
You could have done that, but as you have jack of all, master of none. It's never
It's
the
better than the master plan.
master of none.
It's better than the master plan.
It's not fair. Master of none.
It's better than
You can have all the skills. You can have skills of all, but if you don't proficient in one skill, then that other skills matter. You need to have at least proficiency in one skill. You need to focus more on transformation and transactional so that we can conclude accordingly. If we focus just on more on other styles, we wouldn't give more importance to this style. You need to focus more on this prediction. You need to know your opinion. You need to know our opinion. You need to check if our survey results were correct. You need to know if the data we checked was correct. The internet is correct. That was the reason for focus more on this.
Anybody else? Give you a situation. You have to tell me, in fact, the class can also take that. New hospital is coming up, which is like going to compete with hotels and banks and Apollo. Let's say at par, quality at par with banks. So what kind of leadership will help with price?
And firstly, I will answer national leadership because in hospital you don't need a lot of creativity or that much freedom is required. People should be told what they are needing to do. So because lives are at stake in the hospital.
More of a transaction.
More of a transactional and controlled environment should be there in the hospital.
Anybody else? Any other answer?
I guess a blend of both. Because in transformational leadership style, because we know like private hospitals aren't that well when it comes to operation, cost friendly they are not. If you compare it to PGI, then it's kind of government, but still it lags. It has some its bottlenecks and all. I think we need a transformational because of this fact that the operations will be nice and they have a vision, the benefit of everyone, like every patient that comes there, and transactional because if we don't have the doctors and the which are in that well read or maybe which are not that pro in their field, I think that won't suffice. It has to be
Very good. What else?
Ma'am, transformational won't be helpful in a hospital. Ma'am, because if you see why people who have money prefer Fortis or Max, as you were saying, is because they.
Why many people prefer?
Why? If they have money, you go to a private hospital in India, ma'am. That's the reality. No one prefers a government hospital. Because, ma'am, what they have is the discipline. Because their washrooms are clean, because their tests are very. Although they charge you much more, although they have a lot of inside things like.
Highly transactional.
Yes, ma'am. Because, ma'am, you want those people to be at par, the lower level workers to be. If you want to clean the washroom, it should be clean 24/7. Like if you go to a PGI, even if AIMS you go to, ma'am, there's a very irregularity of washing because in a hospital you expect the highest amount of hygiene, the highest amount of discipline from the doctors who are coming. I mean, in the government hospital, most of the doctors are running their own private clinics.
Practices.
So if you don't have a transactional approach of leadership, you won't be able to take up a hospital because at last lives and stakes, everything is dependent on. If you lose a single life because a doctor was not on time or because a typhoid or a malaria situation of hygiene or any case, your hospital's reputation is crashed.
And you don't need transformational leadership to hire more professional doctors or good.
I think the set up the ethics science basis of it will be the transformational leadership, and then when it comes to operation and the doctors and the nurses and all the medical entrepreneurs, we need transaction of course because life is involved there.
I think in the beginning of every startup or every company, there is a need of transformational leadership to innovate, to set into new things, to adapt to things, to take up new challenges. But when you have to sustain for a long term, you need transactional leadership that can get revenue, get profit.
That doesn't negate the importance of trust.
It doesn't negate, but it is like when you are starting a new project, you get transformational leadership and creative people. But when you have to sustain or you have to produce the actual product, you get transactional people who just look at the things as objects, don't have a personal connection or emotional need of validation like
About that, it's about maintaining the operations.
operation.
Processes. Tony, what is your opinion?
Ramneek.
आपने भी ना?
I think transactional leadership is good for short term because the basically
Short term.
short term because basically the first thing to be fulfilled is our basic requirements, that is to for the long term we can go for transformation according to the national
You know,
plan.
same opinion.
Actually, we need both. We need both. Transformational as well as transactional. Transformation starts. We need to motivate doctors and they work hours of it and they get tired. They need some motivation. And money and rewards is not the only motivation they need. They are already getting paid. But for, as I just said, millions of subcarriers and all, the workers need transactional leadership. Because they need paid. That's what we're doing.
And I personally believe that only rewards are the need for the hospitals.
What is the word?
Only the rewards and punishments aren't the need of the hospitals right now. One of the reasons is the most rewarding thing for a doctor is the saving the life of a patient. Nothing can be more satisfying to me
So
than
you think
that.
transactional is not required?
I think transformational is more required than transactional. Transactional no doubt gives the base. Given the example of I use government hospital. Government hospital is operating inefficiently, directly, but that not because of transactional or transformational. They aren't following any kind of leadership. They lack in the leadership. They are getting paid.
That's a whole different case we can discuss sometimes later.
Yes.
But if
Some
we
answers can be rephrased if you can tell us, like, you said, like, if you are opening a hospital.
Yes.
So, operations is the only thing you're asking about, or you're asking about the sales and advertisement and everything of it?
Is it a franchise or a new?
It's a business he's coming up.
It's
Is it a
new-
franchise or a new
model?
He has to compete with the new hospitals, in the sense the existing hospitals. He has to increase his revenues. And he has to make sure that they are in order also, their processes are also the same.
So, ma'am, then initially, ma'am, for sales and advertisement and
Transformation.
Transformation is always at a very high level.
Yes.
You will never be at a shop floor.
I'm like
Running a hospital, you won't require a transformational according to me, but where your advertisement, because at last you go to Fortis, you have
So
post
why
of
will people
your.
leave Fortis and come to your hospital if you start?
What now?
If I'm starting a hospital with as good as investment as Max or XYZ, whatever,
Yes, ma'am.
why will people leave that and come to my hospital, which is already established and has some credibility to it? So I have to be very innovative.
Yes, ma'am. Transformation.
Ma'am, but eventually, apart from the pitching and the sales and advertisement thing, if you have one case of
It's not about only sales and
no, ma'am, that's the thing. That's my opinion in every case. But the thing is, if you are neglecting the discipline of the hospital by thinking that people would be working with their innovative ideas only, and if you have one case of crash, your hospital's reputation would be spoiled, and even if you have any kind of even innovation, you won't have. Yeah, it won't work.
no, but transactional leadership slows down decision making.
Pharmaceutical companies, medical companies, or insurance companies, banking companies, highly operational. Highly operations, like operations have to be in place. Right? So transition is required. You have to have checks and balances. You
Yes.
have to have punishment and rewards. Right? But at the same time, you understand the competing ones. Right? We have to exist in the market. We have to not only exist, we have to do much better in the market to be able to survive. So we need transformation.
I have a family friend who's worked as a management consultant for a hospital in Dehradun. He drove them out of a debt of around 100 crores he drove them out of debt, like he recovered them from a debt of around 100 crores and he made them capable enough to. No, so he works as a management consultant independently, like a freelancer. No. He's a management person. He's driven them, like he's recovered them from 100 CR debt And one of the few things that he's focused on was, first of all, the majority of the revenue from a hospital comes from the pharmacy. Like around more than 30% of the revenue comes from the pharmacy. Secondly, in terms of the operations, I think laissez-faire, the theory, would be the most apt, because taking in a transactional scene, it would be there's a legal amount of surgeries that a doctor can conduct in one singular day, that he has to sign that he's going to be conducting surgery. There's a legal amount. If you take it from a transactional point of view, you would obviously want to maximize that. But legality comes into the play where you cannot have a singular doctor perform a lot of surgeries in a day. Secondly, you cannot punish a doctor for doing something wrong. It is a part of the legal clause of a doctor's practice. And even though 4% to 11% of fatalities occur due to misdiagnosis in a hospital, so transactional environment would lead to pressure on the doctor, which is something that you cannot have. They call it doctor's nerves, because they have still hands. Thirdly, laissez-faire requires a lot of delegation. So in part of a hospital where the person sitting at the top might not be a medical professional at all, may just be a manager, would require the perspective of doctors and surgeons personally to be able to better prescribe what is needed to get a faster reaction time. Because in terms of fatalities and in terms of accidents, the reaction time is what makes sure that the person won't lose their life. So I think delegation would be a better part instead of transactional and transformational. That is kind of the point why I meant they should have highlighted on the other aspects as well.
That I agree, but no, let's come back to what you were saying. Laissez-faire in there, which aspect were you wanting to add?
Laissez-faire in terms of how it should be run in leadership. Leadership, how leadership should be in terms of hospital to make it successful. Delegation will give you better response time, it will give you better suited results, because you'll be able to take the perspective of the doctors as well, the surgeons as well, because it's not necessary that the person that is managing the hospital will be a medical professional.
So in real life, you all see when it comes to hospitals like Lotus and Mac, not pressure on these. Whether or not they accept that they should not be under pressure, they have such high pressure.
I understand, but my
This is
point
right
is to
from the
minimize the
horse's mouth.
pressure.
I'm saying that there are a lot of documented case studies that none of the beds should be waiting.
course.
Since we are doing the hospital case study and talking about it. So transactional तो वहाँ होता ही है.
सही है.
Any business, if I am a business owner, I would want my systems to be in order, my processes to be set. But at the same time, I also want very innovative outcome so that I stand out. I have my own USPs. When it comes to laissez-faire, it depends which area can I apply. I can't apply in pharmacy in hospital case. I can't apply it in operational stuff. I may not apply. It goes both. I may not apply. So it all depends where we can apply. So having said that, what I'm trying to say here is that there is no one point solution.
The only reason behind me negating the transaction was if you create a balance between punishment or a reward in a hospital system, it would not exactly serve the purpose, because it is a.
No, but we still need checks and balances.
Of course.
If you've done some mistake, you have to bear it. You have to walk. You have to take it. And especially in these. So why do you think medical is only doctors?
No, it requires the healthy staff, the nurses,
So
and
many staff.
doctors.
For example, I'm doing construction. I have a chowkidar in my construction site. So guards, security guards, or whatever. He lost something and he says, मुझे पता नहीं कहाँ चला गया, क्या हो गया. So what are you there for? You're there to guard the things. If you only don't know what should I pay you, I'll have to deduct the salary. Right? Shop floor में कोई process हो रहा है, कोई accident हो गया, you have to bear it. I'm talking about operations processes. So transactional हर जगह हो. I mean, all other autocratic or democratic or authoritative, all this is a part. Somebody is, very authoritative, somebody is very autocratic. Personal leadership styles. But when we talk about transformation and transition, even in Steve's case, I'm sure he was transformational also. That's why HCL has come from where to where. Now their ads only says that innovation or something. The tagline is also similar to that, right? So if everything is mixed, but yeah, why we are trying to, why we are studying it academically? Why we are separating it out so that we understand what does transactional means, what does market economy or transformational means. That's the only purpose. Even in your own self, if you look at it, you are not one style. You change your leadership style according to the time area of operation, place, everything. So, real life is like that. But the only purpose of understanding the concept here and what all you added, all three points are valid. All three kind of styles, all three kind of situation may occur where we may apply different strategies. We may mix. This is a project. We have to deliver, and similar project is being done by our competitors also. Now you have freedom of come up with some very innovative outcome. If you are coming up with some outcome, you will get incentive. Now what is this? It's a mix of I've given them free hand to innovate, but at the same time I have also added incentives, which becomes transaction, give and take, right? So, does anybody else want to add or anybody else want to ask some question?
Ma'am, these days more emphasis on transformational leadership is the reason mainly why most of the startups fail nowadays. They get the funds and all that, like Byju's failed. They focused too much on the transformational leadership for too long of a time. Initially, maybe it was required that they come up with devices and curriculum and all that. Then they focus on transactional in the wrong way. In the sense, transactional is focusing on profit and all that. They never focused on profits.
Byju's always focused on
Byju's.
Byju's always focused on profit. That's why their brand image was not very good.
Not in the broader sense. Like the management was highly expenditure oriented.
No, they focus transactions. They focus transactions.
Like the way they approached education industry was too
Might
wrong.
be wrong, but his question is
Byju's product was innovative.
But they had
Their operation was highly transactional.
Yes, it was not transformational.
Ma'am, but his question is right in any ways.
What
People,
is he saying high?
because his question is that many of the startups are getting funding based on their transformational ideas that people are getting and the VCs are funding them. But due to their non-disciplinary approach and this transactional leadership not being in the phase, that many of the startups eventually fail because they're just thinking and
I
thinking
was-
and the discipline part is gone.
I was trying to say that the transactional leadership you are talking about was on the lower level. The lower sales employees and the workers that were being paid less were highly transactional. But the upper management that needed to be transactional, that needed to focus on improving the efficiency and focusing on profits, reducing the customer hiring, customer acquisition cost and all that, they didn't do it at all. They siphoned the funds. I personally knew some people who were getting a package of 50 lakhs and all that. They used to get 50,000 Ola cash every month to do trips. They worked nothing. They spent all the money and just wasted it. Siphoned all the money into their accounts and left the company in 2 or 3 years during COVID. Most of the upper management was like that. That's why the company failed. It is like over glorification of transformational leadership.
हम 60 MB के लिए यहाँ पे नेट ही नहीं आता
It's a series. It's actually, I have sent you the challenges of good team, the requirement of good team and all that. But that is in context of entrepreneurship, right? That's in context of startups. उसकी पूरी series, I think I've sent you second or third one. So, startup failure has, apart from leadership, which is very, very important, many other factors.
But
People have to talk holistic.
I'm just pointing out, it's a part of the problem.
Startup failure is not just because of leadership.
So the point is,
अरे not just का बोला है.
Because of just leadership.
Just नहीं मतलब बहुत सारी reason है.
Transformation with different case
what
study.
kind of leadership was he providing, and it? Why did he say it? You know, so we can have a long discussion on that also. Or maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If anybody else has.
I'm like in the case of Elon Musk, he's also innovative and focuses on the transactional style of leadership too. What he has done is innovation, pure innovation, but he's never been in a loss-making kind of situation. Like his companies are failing and all that. Initially everyone is loss-making, but they get to profit, unlike many. YouTube पे मत
What is your